Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. Good morning. Wow, the last 24 hours, absolutely insane. Bitcoin shatters, pumps above 20,000, even surpassed 21,000 briefly. An entire crypto market cap is nearing 1 trillion once again. So what's going on? Why is this happening? Is it going to continue? Should you continue to hodl? Well, let's answer all these things and more today. Welcome, guys. I know you guys, probably anyone watching this right now, probably had a good 24 hours because after my stream on Friday, things went insane. Insane mode. We went from, high 18s, 18.8, 18.7. Then we shot up to 19 slowly. And then things escalated after breaking about right here, about 19.3-ish, right? Then it started going up, and now we're right below 21,000. So it surpassed 21,000 a couple times, and that's where we are right now. So a moment of silence, though, for the bears. Last 24 hours, $735 million worth of liquidations. And you know that that's basically all the shorters, all the bears that refuse to believe that this rally could be real. In fact, the largest single liquidation order happened on Huobi, $6.84 million. Ouch. Ouch. Imagining losing about $7 million within 24 hours. Just look at that. As Bitcoin climbed higher, more shorts got liquidated, and then we had this short squeeze happen, right? And it's a vicious cycle. It goes both ways. We have seen way too many go the wrong way with longs in 2022, but now we're starting to push back. And it's starting to happen to the bears and shorters. Ouch. Ouch. But that definitely had a hand in driving us up to 21,000. That's fantastic. Fantastic stuff. And if you've been paying attention, basically, we were already here, right? It's not like we weren't at 20-something thousand. We were actually doing pretty well. Hovering around 20, 21,000. We were making a little movement above until FTX and everything collapsed, right? But if you look at where we are now, we're back to square one, which is good because that means everything that we have lost, or entire market cap has lost, right? During that 2 months period, 3 months period, has been wiped out. And those of you guys that has been taking advantage and DCAing while things are low, brought your cost average down, right? Well, now you're rewarded for that because things are coming back to life and, again, getting back to pre-FTX levels. So that's awesome. That's awesome. But you and I know that this is just the beginning. But the last 24 hours has been absolutely crazy. The entire market cap right now, as it stands, is plus 6.5%. However, we were even higher than that. We were above 1 trillion once upon a time. But Bitcoin is definitely leading the way right now. Bitcoin at plus 8.7%, nearly 9% above Ethereum, which isn't too shabby at 8%, right? But you have Doge that's about 9%. You have Polygon 8%. You have Solana coming up crazily right now, 34%. Solana pre-FTX was in the 30s, and I still remember that vividly because my soul bags at that time was like 30s, right? So it went down all the way down to $9-ish. That was this low, and everyone said Solana's dead. It's going to zero, right? But now it's coming back full force, almost in the top 10 again, up 35%. Crazy. Polkadot, same thing. A lot of people gave up on Polkadot. It seemed like it was going nowhere. Up 16%. Man, a lot of good, I don't know, recovery, green movement, pumping, whatever you want to call it. It's looking good right now, guys. Looking really good. Now, what else is driving this? Well, a lot of these indicators, a lot of these moving averages, a lot of these models that have been showing for basically, I don't know, how many months? 6 months? Maybe? Even more? Probably more. But the ones that indicated that Bitcoin was at bottom. Bitcoin has basically hit a level where no one is selling anymore. Retail investors are not selling. We're just left with holders and long-term miners and institutions that refuse to sell. And every single chart I showed was basically indicating that a move was imminent, right? I know that it's been a while, but finally we're seeing confirmation. Like, for example, the 200 moving average, right, on the daily chart, it broke out finally, right? So these are things that charters and day traders, they look at and they're like, okay, this is confirmation that we have a reversal, right? But you guys know I'm not a trader. I go by fundamentals, and fundamentals has been getting stronger. Addresses continue to go up. The number of Bitcoin being held continues to go up, right? These are things that you can't ignore. And of course, we're getting closer and closer to the next halving event. So there's just there are just a lot of great things happening, right? But if you're a charter, you're a strategist, you'll see, oh man, this is a big thing. And I was wondering about it, so I decided to look. Last time Bitcoin was above that 200 moving average on a daily chart was all the way back when Bitcoin was still around $50,000 right here. 48,000 was the last time Bitcoin broke below and above, and ever since then you could see we've been below it. That's a pretty good sign. Even though before, granted, it's not the end-all be-all indicator, because there has been times we have fallen below and then we recovered above, right? But if you go back even further, you'll see that prior to 2021, the last time Bitcoin broke out of it was the COVID crash, where Bitcoin went to about 3,800, and then after it broke above, it didn't stop. It didn't stop until Bitcoin hit 64,000. Yes, there was up and downs. Yes, there was still volatility, but it never crossed below until we peaked out around 64,000, then headed back down. So it's something like that in the works. Well, let's hope. But it's a very positive thing. Also, you know, a lot of these other charts that show, or a lot of these models and patterns show that, yeah, like this one, the ascending triangle, and then also this trend line we've been below, right? We have broken out both of them, so pretty positive. There are just so many. It goes on and on and on and on, right? On and on and on. On-chain metrics, moving averages, patterns, indicators, right? Clearly, it showed, every single thing showed that Bitcoin was oversold, we're at or near bottom, and it was itching to claw back and do a reversal and head higher. And that's exactly what we're seeing. Now, it's early. I've been saying this for the last week or so, right? It's good to see it. It's still early, right? We could definitely still see more volatility. I don't think we're going to go straight up to $70,000 and beyond. No, that's probably not going to happen. Still a lot of macro stuff in play. But this gives us hope, right? Gives us hope, and kind of validates a lot of the things that we've been seeing, because I know throughout 2022, so many people kept looking at everything positive I was talking about, and they're like, well, you say this, but there's no movement. It never moves. And I told you guys, during these down periods, during these corrections, when Bitcoin is low, when it seems like all hope is lost, it can be stagnant. It could be really, really boring. It could seem like it never, ever, ever will move again. And I've been through so many of these down cycles. And every single time when you when you're just about to give up, you think there's just no point on DCAing or holding or continuing forward, that's when things usually turn around. So, fantastic stuff. Fantastic stuff, my friends. All right, what else is there? I saw this. Not that we want major banks to come into space, but, you know, they're FOMOing in. BNY Mellon, which is the largest custodian out there on the planet, I believe, they're saying we're leaning into the future with things like digital assets. Even they can't ignore crypto because they know it's the future. And if you listen to the president talking about things, talking about new things that they're looking at, right? The one thing they're sure of is digital assets and how it's going to play a big part of everyone's future. Okay, so think about that. Think about how early we are. Even though prices have come up, prices are pretty high, market cap is pretty high. It's still so early versus 10 years from now, 20 years from now. What will be used then will be very different than what is being used now. So very, very early. Other things that's going on, Ethereum developer confirms that the Shanghai update is still on track for March. No delays whatsoever. They push back a lot of things because their main concentration is to open up staking so that people that have staked for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years now, right, can now unlock and unstake and withdraw if they wanted to. Only if they want to. Doesn't mean that everyone is going to do it, but they're going to open up this ability. But other things that they're working on, improvements to their EVM, their Ethereum virtual machine, also ways to scale Ethereum further. So there's a lot of things still in play, but this is the biggest thing that they're working on. And speaking upon improving EVM, you know, guess what? Polygon, they are about to finish up their ZK-EVM, which basically uses zero knowledge rollups to scale, you know, transactions, scale processing of smart contracts. So Polygon seems to be years ahead of Ethereum at this point in terms of, you know, in terms of scalability, right? But they are dependent on Ethereum because they are layer 2. And everything they do is basically compatible with Ethereum. But again, this is one of the reasons why I'm a big fan of Polygon, because they are attracting so many dApps and brands and companies at this point that continue to move forward. So, fantastic stuff. What else is going on? Let's see. DOJ objects FTX choice of lawyers. Interesting. Still a lot more things happening with FTX, but Skybridge, the mooch, Anthony Scaramucci, right? A lot of people didn't know this, but FTX bought 30% of Skybridge. So obviously he wants to get out. He's trying to buy back the shares. So that's actually happening. But it kind of just shows you how big or how much SBF was splurging on everything. Just kind of throwing money out everywhere, right? So that's also happening. I did see this. There's still a lot of FUD around Grayscale, around DCG, SEC now targeting them. But there's another fund company that is attempting to buy the GBTC fund from Grayscale. Will they do this? Will they actually sell? Will DCG actually sell? I don't know. But it's kind of interesting to think about if GBTC or any of the other trusts are now sold to competitors. It's always been a Grayscale product, right? So it'll be interesting if that actually happens. But anyways, that's pretty much it. You know what? Not a whole lot of news. The biggest news, of course, is this. When I showed you guys like days ago, right, when it was starting to come up, I said, hey, there's a pattern there. There's a pattern, and the pattern continues. So good things are happening. All right, let's do some Q&A. Hellfire, I appreciate it. Whatever you can do, I appreciate it. Sergeant Randy Pig, first time chatter. Welcome. Jimmy Doss. So glad DC heavy in this low period. Congrats. Let me scroll up here. Make sure. Haas Clips. Thank you for that super chat. Any update on Silvergate? No, that bank not looking so good, but it is a bank. So I do think that they can't just go belly up like some of the crypto projects. I think the regulators are probably, I don't know. There's probably a lot of oversight right now. Let's just put it that way. Last time I heard someone was going to invest in them or something. Someone was trying to bail them out. Do I hold VET? Yes, I do. Any of these? Would you hold any of these? Optima, Cadena, Caspa. The first two. Probably not Caspa because I don't know enough about it. And too many people seem to be talking about it. That concerns me a little bit. But I haven't looked into Caspa yet. You know, another point so people have been making, Juarez, Joe, everything is happening right now because there's less faulty exchanges. Yeah, you know, like before FTX collapsed, and there was a lot of FUD around FTX, I did mention, like, you know what? It does seem like someone's, like, counter-trading the market, right? Whenever we had any kind of momentum, seemed like the bears just killed it and brought everything down. Now, in hindsight, I think we're all wondering whether or not FTX was just doing that. FTX certainly had enough ammunition. They were liquidating people left and right. And you know, SBF and Gary and Caroline, they had enough funds to swash around. Maybe they were just counter-trading everyone. They were counter-trading the whole market. That's why Bitcoin never seemed to have any momentum. And we were suppressed for so long. And now that FTX is out of the picture, we're getting some good recovery. Maybe. You know, I don't know if they'll ever prove that in court, but it makes you wonder if the bad actors like FTX were suppressing the market. Spillways, I know small cap. Do you have an opinion on this? I never heard of that, so I don't know. I don't know about it. Sid Michael, appreciate that. Appreciate it. What do you think about XAva? It's a launch pad for Avalanche. I'm not familiar with that project specifically, but I have seen many, many launch pads. Launch pads themselves don't do well. I mean, quite honestly. They force people to use their token to participate in these launches, right? But the money is in the projects themselves, not the launch pad. I've seen a lot of launch pads launch over the last few years, and none of them are big. You know, they're there, but honestly, if you had great projects, I mean, great projects don't need to launch on a launch pad. They just launch, right? So it's kind of counterintuitive to launch on a launch pad. Let's just put it that way. Sam, appreciate it. Hello, do you see us dropping before we hit 30K? You know, interesting thing. I don't know. Like, the market tends to move in mysterious ways, sometimes in really even and obvious numbers. Right now, you could see I've drawn some lines here. I mean, actually, I had these lines for a while, right? The next big one will be, the next big resistance, I should say, is right around 24,000, right? And then the one after that, probably anywhere from here, like 28,800, 29, or 31,000. So because of how fast we have moved, and the short-term indicators are now showing we're overbought levels, I do think at some point we'll hit and then, you know, take a breather, right? take a long breather, not just keep skyrocketing to the moon. Although it can, when there's FOMO and institutions are now thinking, well, I should have bought Bitcoin when it was at 15, 16,000. Now I better buy it before it goes back to 30,000, right? You don't know. I mean, the charts they're right until they're wrong. But, because of what's happening right now, I would say the next stop, it's either one of these, 24 or 31. And after we hit it, can we retrace a little bit? Yeah, that's a real possibility. We have seen that before. I remember when we were coming off of our bottom of 3,000 back in 2019, we went all the way up to 14,000. 14,000 before coming back down again. So sometimes it does happen, right? So I'm looking for a point where it kind of Bitcoin stops, consolidates, right? Maybe for a while, maybe for weeks or months, and then continues up. That would be a best case scenario. If we keep shooting up, which I know we all love, but then the chances of it coming down is much greater, right? So we'll have to find some level, and I'm perfectly fine if Bitcoin just stays at this level, 20,000, 21,000, like before, right? You can see we're here for a long time, right? But if we do break above 24, we're right back to the 30s. Hopefully that answers that. Do you hold any D gods? No, I do not. I missed a lot while I was rambling here. Is BlackRock in on this? I don't know. I mean, they said they bought already. They said they bought and put it into their fund, their $15 trillion fund. So who knows? Who knows if they're still buying or they just, we don't know. What happens to all the Bitcoin in their major liquidations goes to the opposite side. Patrick, it goes to the opposite side. Whenever people get liquidated, it gets sold, and people that on the other side, which are the longs, they profit, right? But there's a little bit of that kept for the exchanges. Exchanges win no matter what. Doesn't matter which side gets liquidated and which side places the trade, they collect their commission, right? So exchanges win. That's why every exchange offers some kind of leverage trade outside the U.S. In the U.S., they can't. But outside the U.S., every single one does. And, yeah, that's what's happening. Should we still be 50, 25, 25? There's nothing wrong with that. I think the last few days actually proved that Bitcoin, when it pumps, is still the big daddy. Bitcoin, within the last 24 hours, and you can argue the last 7 days, outperformed majority of altcoins. That's why you don't want to ever give up on Bitcoin. I know a lot of people, like during bull runs especially, like 100% in alts, which sometimes works great. But then when things come down, they don't work great because alts fall much faster, much more than Bitcoin. And during bull runs, you'll see sometimes Bitcoin just leads the way. And unfortunately, if you're trying to increase the number of Bitcoins you have in your portfolio, every portfolio tracker will tell you what your dollar amount is in Bitcoin, right? And a lot of times, even though the dollar amount goes up, but you see the portfolio value of Bitcoin actually in Bitcoin equivalency go down. And that's horrible. You don't want to actually see the Bitcoin equivalency go down. You want to see that go up because that means you're gaining on Bitcoin. That means you're actually doing it right. Otherwise, you should just be holding Bitcoin, right? So I think being diversified is still good. Still a good strategy. Kind of balances you out. Sean, I already answered your question. People asking about Hedera. Well, Hedera made moves over the years to make them much more likable. They are open source now. They're getting involved with smart contracts. They're already involved with tokenization and NFTs. And they have a large console of huge companies like IBM and Google and stuff like that, right? But they are behind. in terms of smart contracts and in terms of DeFi, way behind other projects. But they are, you know, changing themselves slowly. That's good. Fidelity crypto is now open according to Black-Scholes. Think that has something to do with it? No, but here's the thing. As we trend higher, it's definitely going to have an effect because, you know, the more ways someone can get in the space, right? It's just basically making it easier. Back in 2017, besides Coinbase, all the other exchanges were new, and no one wanted to, you know, touch them, right? And Coinbase had its limitations. It was down all the time and customer service issues and stuff. But now you have so many options. All the degens for Robinhood, they buy right on Robinhood. You could buy on Cash App. Right now, a lot of people that are that have funds with Fidelity or they're used to a Fidelity system, they could get in really quickly, right? It's the same thing with others in the space. I mean, there's so many venues now that makes on-ramping really easy, and it, you know, the next bull run is gonna be insane. Let's just put it that way. The amount of money that will be flowing in, and how easy it will be for them, for the money to flow in, will be unlike any other bull runs we have experienced. The people who hate the rally the most seems to be the hardcore TA guys. People in the crypto space need to stop taking TA as gospel and understand its history. People that hate it the most, first of all, are probably hardcore TA guys that are short. Like the people that are calling Bitcoin to fall below 10K or to 5K or wherever. Okay? They're probably the most mad because they placed their shorts and they're part of this group now. You know, if you don't like Bitcoin, don't short it. Just don't buy it. You could sell it. You could, you know, not buy it, but don't short it. That's the most dangerous thing you could do. So I agree with you. You know, very, very select few that really know what they're doing could probably make a good amount trading Bitcoin and crypto, right? And a lot of people get lucky. They're very successful at it. But you can't dispute the fact that long-term holders, they're the ones that make the most in everything, not just Bitcoin and crypto, but in stocks and equities and real estate. Long-term holders are the ones that make the most and are the billionaires. So it's a strategy that works. No, it's not 15 billion, man. It's 15 trillion. BlackRock holds trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of assets. George, thoughts on beloved XRP? Gotta wait for that lawsuit. Gotta wait for that lawsuit to end. They're always going to be suppressed because of it, even though they've trended up a little bit recently. But they're not going to see their full potential until that lawsuit resolves. Stefofan, I butchered your name, but I appreciate it. XDC's future, I've looked at them before. They look promising, but you know, not a project I particularly follow. What price will Matic hit in your opinion next year? I don't know. Matic, depending on next year, how crazy the bull run is, but you know, it's still way lower than its previous high, right? I think it hit as high as $3 or something like that before, so it'll be much higher than that. Manuel, appreciate it. $50 every week into Bitcoin. It's that simple. Yeah. You eat out less once, or you stop buying coffees a few times, right? Everyone has the capability to save just a little bit more to DCA. Not to say that that's what everyone should do, not giving financial advice, but people over the years have told me how they've been putting, you know, a little bit here, a little bit there, and it has added up quite tremendously over the years. So I do agree with you. I do agree with you for sure. Do I hold any BTC mining companies? No. I'm really thinking about going heavier into Coinbase. So I think I forgot how much I bought. I bought some call options, I think, for Coinbase last week, because if Bitcoin's coming up, Coinbase is going to go up for sure, right? I forgot. I think I bought very little amount of Coinbase. But outside of Coinbase and Tesla, I don't hold any other stocks. And they're very, very tiny. They're small amounts, just a few thousands worth. How do you feel about Avalanche? I like Avalanche. They made a lot of big news recently. I think you know, being able to spin up a node on AWS is cool, but more importantly, they formed a couple other partnerships. But if you look at their ecosystem, just growing, right? Their transaction count is growing. Burning is still happening. They're still developing more stuff. They have a couple wallets. You know, they're getting side chains. I mean, everyone's introducing side chains, and they already have it. So I just saw someone sent me a proposal from Cardano too. IOHK had just released the framework for side chains on Cardano. Like, everyone's trying to get involved with that. Stephen Young, are you happy you held on to Soul Bag? Sure. This is why I held on, in case it could come back up, and it did. But still, I'm down versus pre-FTX levels. But there does seem to be a lot of enthusiasm in Solana again because of how oversold it was. What do you think would lead the next bull run? DeFi gaming, and I think DeFi definitely because of FTX collapse. DeFi, I think, will get really strong this next bull run. There's going to be less dependent on centralized exchanges and more dependence on DeFi. Gaming and AI could be huge. A lot of people have been asking about AI because there's a lot of chatter because of ChatGPT. So AI could be, but I still think AI is too early. Metaverse is still there. NFTs are still there. Gaming, you know, we'll see. The last generation of games were not that impressive, and the next gen games are still not done. So gaming could be impressive too. But I think DeFi for sure. AI could, gaming, and then everything else. Mana and Sand started pumping because of Gala. Gala started pumping because, you know, they announced a few things, Burning and the movies, so they started going up. But they have a ton of games already. But I think people started looking at some of the other oversold projects like Decentraland and Sandbox. So that's kind of the reason. I haven't heard much about either in terms of new brands coming aboard or anything like that, but they're definitely the leaders of the metaverse in the crypto space. What do you think about Compound Finance Pump? Nothing about it, but I just did say that I think DeFi is going to play a huge part in this next bull run for sure. The engine pump, I didn't pay attention to engine, but engine is in that space too. That's okay. I don't know why it just turned off night mode. Haven't heard much about engine recently though, to be honest. Well, yeah, I guess here's one. Engine announced partnership with Square Enix to make branded tokenization collectibles available using Infinity. Well, that was 6 months ago. Jimmy, I'm glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. What's the next Sheeb? A lotto ticket? I don't know if you guys won that Mega Millions. That was crazy. I don't know if there will ever be another Sheeb. Sheeb could be a one-off, okay? I know so many others are trying to copy it. So many others are trying to, jump in every single meme coin, hoping that it could be a next Sheeb. Keep in mind, it could be just a one-off, and we would never see another pump like it again with meme coins. Anchor, they got that, they suffered that huge hack. I was always neutral on Anchor. I never liked them that much. But they're in liquid staking and hosting. But they suffered that huge hack, and that was no good. No good at all. Chris, I'm not working with a trainer. I should be, though. Phantom is also doing good. Another one of my favorite L2s. Phantom is L2. And ever since Tizo is doing good today too. Ever since Andre Cronin came back, they had a lot of momentum. And I think they have a couple conferences too. Where are they? Or maybe I passed them up already. I mean, today is just a good day. Look at Compound up 38%. Someone asked about that. Helium 22%. Engine is up here. I mean, the last 24 hours. Nice. Where's Phantom? There we go. Up 15%. I always DCA into Atom. Love this project. I do too. I talk about Atom a lot. Yeah, for me, I just like the projects I like the most are L1s, L2s because they're the base. They're the platform. They're the framework. They're the operating system for all future dApps, right? So it's like investing in Microsoft or Apple because they're the ones providing the structure, right? So a lot of these, I think a lot of them are similar, but a lot of them are different too. Like Cosmos is one that's really different from a lot of others. Simple Green. It's good to get a reminder every so often. Is building a house a better value than buying? No. It's much better value buying than building. But building, you get exactly what you want. That's the thing. When you're buying a house, there's always something that you wish could be done differently. So you either have to spend the money or you just live with it. But you definitely get a lot more, let's say, space, size, or whatever, because it was much cheaper to build a house 10, 15, 20 years ago versus now. So if you're looking for best bang for your buck, you buy. But if you want exactly what you want, right, then you build. Melvin, the thing is, Quant is a B2B project. Quant basically helps businesses create dApps that can work on any chain. Ultimately, that's what they do. Their interledger or overledger allows for that to happen, but they're really just concentrating on B2B. They have a whole thing about helping businesses and being like a consultant to them and stuff like that. They're really not competing with Atom at all. They're very different. No, I'm not putting 100x long. No need for that, and it's too dangerous. You don't want to become one of these guys right here, okay? All right, guys, I'll let you go. Enjoy your gains. But last 24 hours, wow, right? We finally got a good reminder of what a good recovery feels like. What a pump actually feels like, right? We have wiped out all the losses pretty much from the FTX debacle. Although I know a lot of people still have their money locked in, and that's sad. But if you're looking at in terms of Bitcoin, right, pretty much wiped it out. So that's fantastic. So let's see what happens. Can this continue? Yes. When there's FOMO involved, you know, forget the charts. Bitcoin can go up as high as it wants to. But at some point, I think we will stop, retrace a little bit, consolidate, right? But I don't know if that time is now. We could definitely see more momentum this weekend, right? So it'll be interesting. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Same time, 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.